Hey friends, it's your boy Chris here in the kitchen doing this thing. We're doing a nice little something today for lunch. I know you guys are gonna love it, but before we get to the video, above you're gonna see that subscribe link. Click on subscribe. Below is where you're gonna leave me your comments, questions, anything you want to chat about, and do give the video the thumbs up or like it. I'll show you guys what we've got here. I've got my stuff ready, all diced up, all julienne. Yeah, that is a whole Scotch bonnet pepper you're looking at there. And over here I have my friend Mr. Snapper, all seasoned up, looking sexy, ready to go into the deep fryer. Well, not deep fryer, but fryer. Today we're making Escovitch fish. One of those things I had when I was down in Jamaica. Was a little restaurant just outside Montego, outside Kingston, called Gloria's. Late at night, mosquito biting you all around your foot and thing, but hey, that fish was nice. So here we go, we're making an Escovitch fish as it's done in Jamaica. Yeah, trust me on it. Let's look at the ingredients we'll be using for this wicked Escovitch sauce. It's going to be poured all over that fish. Hey, it's going to be nice. Small green bell pepper, sweet pepper. It's probably going to work out to about 3/4 cups to about a cup once it's chopped up. 1 large onion. I've got a carrot here. We're going to need a pinch of, well, about 1/4 teaspoon of fresh ground black pepper. Just a pinch of salt. I mean, you can adjust to your own liking. You know you got to have that Caribbean sunshine in here. And what I have here is a Scotch bonnet pepper. You can use habanero, any sort of spicy hot pepper you like, but if you can source Scotch bonnet peppers, that's the way to go. I'm going to use the entire thing, seeds and everything, because I want this to be nice and spicy. Yeah. Traditionally, they use pimento berries or allspice berries. I don't have any, so I'm going to use ground allspice for this. Just a pinch of that, because being that it's ground, it's going to really intensify the flavor of this. Over here, and this is probably one of the stars of the show, vinegar, just plain old white vinegar, 3/4 cups. Now here is something that's not traditional to this recipe. However, I like adding it to give it that sort of balance from the tartness of the vinegar, the sourness kind of aspect of it. It's all going to be balanced off nicely. What I've got here is about 1/2 teaspoon of plain old granulated sugar. So here we go. These are the ingredients here we'll be using for the Escovitch sauce. Now let's take a look at the fish. So here's the fish I'll be using today. A beautiful, maybe about 1.5 to 2 pounds red snapper. Oh, smells beautiful, like the ocean. Nice and firm, just ready. I've just got to season it up a bit, wash it with some fresh limes. And so then we've got this red snapper here, 1.5 to 2 pounds. I've got some fresh thyme, maybe about 4 or 5 sprigs, 1 scallion, and we're going to use the juice of this lime to wash the fish with in a second. Just wanted to comment on the red snapper here a bit. I've got, about a week ago or so, I got some red snapper from the Chelsea brand, Wild Caught's red snapper. And guys, I just want to say thanks to the Chelsea brand for supplying me with this beautiful red snapper. If you're in the grocery stores, look in the frozen section. Beautiful. It's vacuum sealed, double bagged. Hey, nice, and it's almost as good as when they're fresh out of the ocean. Trust me on this. Again, Chelsea brand, look for it in your supermarket. Beautiful fish. So all I'm going to do now is to, the fish already came scaled, so there's no scales on there, but just for my own assurance, I'm going to pass the knife on it again. So here we go. How are we going to prepare this fish? We'll also need a little bit of salt and a little bit of black pepper for seasoning the fish. So all I did was I took the gills off here, the sort of gills that was here. The fish is nice and cleaned on the inside. It smells beautiful. It's nice and fresh smelling. It doesn't smell fishy. Once this fish smells fishy, that's when you're looking for trouble. What we're going to do next, and we need to allow this fish to cook all the way through, we're going to give it a couple cuts. Not too deep. Notice how I go down here. I'm going to give it 2 cuts on this side, and then I'm going to reverse it and do the same thing. So just a couple cuts. Up next, I'm going to wash it with the lime juice. The fish is nice and clean now. I open up all the cavity and I use the juice of a lime to wash it with some water. What we need to do next is a paper towel and pat it dry, because you really want this to be dry, because you're going to be adding this to hot oil. The last thing you want is to have that oil splattering all over onto you. So I'm patted dry and it's ready to go now. I'm going to sort of season this fish, and this may seem unconventional. Some of you who do make your own Escovitch fish will find this a little bit different. But what I'm going to do is, and I've got the fresh thyme here and I've got the scallion. I'm just going to cut that scallion in two, and then using the back of my knife, bruise it up a bit because I want to release those flavors. Then what I'm going to do is, that scallion and everything here, it's going to go into the cavity of the fish, as well as that thyme. I'm going to stick it all in there and just leave that to sit for a few minutes. I'm also going to top it with some fresh ground black pepper, as well as a pinch of salt. I'm just going to allow it to go into that cuts we made as well. I'm going to do the other side the same way. This plate isn't cooperating with me. Listen to it's dancing. Boy, the equipment I gotta work with, I tell you. But here we go. The fish is nice and seasoned here now. So what we're gonna do next is prepare the ingredients for the Escovitch sauce. What we've got to do is Julienne the Carrot a bit. And what I did was I peeled it. Well, I didn't really peel it. I don't use a carrot peeler or potato peeler. Using my knife, I just scraped the skin layer off there, rinse it in the cold water, and now we're gonna Julienne it. And I'll show you how I do that. I'm gonna cut it into a manageable size piece, and then I'm going to cut a chunk off the bottom, set that aside. So now what I've got is a flat surface to work on, so it doesn't move when I'm working with it. And all I'm going to do is cut strips away like that. Then what I'm going to do next, stack about 3 of them on the flat surface here, and just go ahead and Julienne. You're going to see how nice, lovely strips you're going to get. Just be careful with the knife, and make sure your knife is nice and sharp. And you're going to have beautiful Julienne carrots. As we've discussed in the past, the real heat in this Scotch bonnet pepper, I'm just going to crack it open here for you guys, and you can really see it here. See this membrane, this sort of white membrane here around the seeds and all that? I don't know if you can see it white, but where the seeds are here, this is the hottest part of the pepper. So if you don't want to play with as much heat, this is going to be intense. If you don't want that intense heat, what you would do, you would scrape that out and discard it. Now remember, use gloves when you're handling Scotch bonnet peppers, because the oils will remain on your skin. It will irritate you, and chances are you may even rub your eyes and stuff like that with that oil in there, and then you're going to be in some serious pain. I'm going to use the entire pepper here. So all I'm going to do is basically chop that up, give it a nice dice, and then we'll be ready to go. I've got about 3/4 cups, closer to a cup of vegetable oil in my frying pan here, medium-high heat, and I'm just going to add the fish to it now. But remember, it will give us some fireworks here. Couple tips: if you have a splatter screen for your frying pan, be sure to put it on there, or you'll be cleaning up a lot of oil around this when it starts splattering. The other thing is, you really want to make sure that fish is all the way down and cooking away. We're probably going to cook this in about 5 minutes on each side, so allow it to do its thing. Keep the heat at about medium-high. You know what, it will go golden brown, maybe even beyond golden brown on that side that you're cooking it right now, but that's cool. It will dry up a sort of a bit, but the inside will be nice and moist. And once we add that Escovitch sauce on here, thing will be sweet. It's been about 5 minutes. What I did was using some, be very careful when you're doing this. I use a combination of tongs as well as with a fork, and I flipped it over. Be very careful when you're doing so, because if it's splatter, remember, you can get burned from this. Guys, I think I'm going to be in trouble. I don't have a splatter screen, and Karen cleaned this kitchen down early this morning, stove including, and there is splattered oil everywhere. Yep, I think I'm going to be in trouble. One more tip for you guys. What I would suggest you also do is open the windows in your house. if you live in temperate climates, try and do this in the summertime when you can use the barbecue outside, the burner on the barbecue, or you know what, the entire house is going to smell like fried fish. You know, when I'm eating it, lovely, but after I eat it, I don't want to smell fried fish. It will get on your clothes and everything. So I'm going to let this cook for another 4 minutes or so, 5 minutes on each side. Then I'm going to drain it on some paper towels, and we're going to take a look at how we're going to, while it cools down a little, we're going to take a look at how we make the Escovitch sauce. Just wanted to mention a couple things, and you're probably wondering why did I insert the fresh thyme as well as scallions into the cavity of the fish here. As it cooks, it's going to perfume the inside of this fish with the steam and the hot oil and everything else, and it's going to really add a new dimension, a new flavor to this fish. The other thing is, this fish, since we're using the entire fish here, is going to have bones and stuff like that, so be careful if you intend on serving this to kids or adults who are dummies, I guess, who just don't know to keep away from the bones, right? But here we go. What the other option is, get a fillet of fish and use a fillet of fish, so then you're good to go, no bones, you don't have to worry about it. It will take a lot less time to cook, but it's also a good option. I love the bones, I love that flavor from the bones and everything else. Thought I'd share those little tidbits with you guys. The fish is all done frying now, nice and beautiful color and everything else. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to take it out of the pan here. Again, using my fork as well as my tongs. And I'm just going to put it on a plate lined with paper towel. I want that to drain while we make the sauce. Let's see if we can put the Escovitch sauce together now. So in the saucepan here on medium heat, I just put it on there. I'm going to pour in that vinegar. I'm going to hit him with the salt, black pepper, and then I'm going to start adding all the chopped up ingredients. So the onions, julienne, carrots, as well as that Scotch bonnet pepper. Everything is going in there, and I'm going to give it a good stir in a second. But we can't forget the allspice, also known as pimento berries. I'm just going to hit them a little dash of that in there. I'm going to give that a good stir as well. But before I do, I want to get maybe about a tablespoon or so of that oil that we fried the fish in and pour it in here. That's going to add some extra flavor to this Escovitch sauce for us. I'm just going to give this a good stir, and then we're going to be bringing it up to a boil and allow it to... What I've gone ahead now, I've stirred it all up. I'm going to bring it up to a sort of a gentle simmer and let it cook for about 4 to 5 minutes. I made a bit of a mistake when I told you guys, if you notice the container, when I poured it in, I said it was salt. It wasn't salt. That's the little bit of sugar that we're going to add. We added to this for balancing off all the flavors. Now here's the salt. I'm just going to hit them a little pinch of that salt. Nothing too fantastic, because we want this to be on its own merit. We don't want it to be salty or anything like that, right? So I'm going to bring this up to a boil and let it simmer for about 4 to 5 minutes. Escovitch sauce is all done now. Karen is outside, and I had a good laugh for this. She just came inside and she told me, oh my gosh, it smells so good outside. Talk about role reversal. Here I am inside my kitchen showing you guys how I make my Escovitch sauce, and I'm going on about the flavors of the Escovitch sauce and everything else. Hey, you know what Karen's doing? She's outside cleaning the inside of the car. I choked up and I had to laugh there for a second, but talk about role reversal. She's outside cleaning the car, vacuuming, detailing the leather and stuff like that, and I'm in here. So here we go. I hope you guys enjoy this. Guys, treat your wife to a nice fish dinner. So here we go. The Escovitch sauce is done. My fish is all drained on that paper towel. It's ready to go now. So all I'm going to do is top it with that Escovitch sauce. Now here's the thing, guys, and I failed to mention this earlier. There's enough sauce here for about 4 or 5 fishes. Fishes? Is that a word? Fish. 5 fish. So you can store it in the refrigerator. It probably lasts for a week, 2 weeks, because it's all vinegar based. It's a nice pickle. Spicy. All we got to do now is grab some of that sauce. Ooh, smelling nice. Just pour it all over there. Pick up some of the actual liquid as well too. I'm making a mess, am I not? Let's just put that all in there. So a little bit of that liquid. Just pour it all on here. And we're good to go, Jamaican style. Red snapper Escovitch. Guys, give it a try. It is amazing. Trust me. Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen. Love to have you guys here. Give this recipe a try and do leave me... Yeah, messy, eh? You go in there. Do leave me your comments below. And hey, if you want to see another video on here, leave it down in the comment section. Tell me what you want. I'll hook you guys up.